Holy crap. Behind me is my 1980 Mercedes-Benz 300 TD, which I've been working on getting it restored a little bit. And like pretty much all other older cars, there's some common problems that just creep up on you until the point where the car becomes a piece of junk, and you really don't want that. Now, these problems aren't specific to this car. It's just things like doors, windows, keys. These are the kind of issues that all classic cars and classic vehicle ownership, you're going to experience at some point. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 of the biggest problems that I'm running into with this car, and there will be 1/6 special bonus problem for cars that are experiencing rust. Now, you might not believe it, but this actually rolled into the shop here as a Ghostbusters Ectomobile. Here's the decal on the wall behind me, falling off already. I had built the Ghostbusters car for a local art car parade, but that was almost a year ago, and it was kind of neglected since then. And I'm now finally getting around to fixing it before it's past the point of no return and the car starts just falling apart on me. So who are you going to call? Not me, because I took all the Ghostbuster stuff off of this car. And let's roll that footage now and show you how this project actually started. Uh-oh. Pull.
Old car problems number 1. The door won't close correctly.
Looks like two of the 4 bolts are completely missing. I'll just tighten it up for the moment, and then it'll just be trial and error. So that's not it. And for reference, here's the back door. And I think it's worse. Well, at least now it closes. Oh, it's worse. Oh, it needs to be raised, not lowered. Oh, there we go. Much better. All right, next up, fixing this window. Start with taking off this door panel, and then I can access the window regulator.
Old car problems number 2. Power window stuck in down position.
This comes out now. Maybe yet another spare.
Okay, here's what we're dealing with. There's the sort of scissor lift action, and most of the regulator bits and bobs are back there. What I just did was just kind of doused as much as I possibly could in PB Blaster, including the felt channels. Let's see some of it dripping. Okay, go. Nothing? Okay, I did a little investigating. The switch is good. That's not the problem. So the motor is definitely dead. I still need to get this window up just so I can get it to a car wash. And so I'm gonna unscrew it. Just unscrew the window from the regulator. There's 2 bolts here. And then just kind of prop it up with a stick, I suppose. We'll see. I fixed it. I know what some of you guys are thinking right now. There is nothing more permanent than a temporary solution. All right, I'm gonna hammer this block that will just hold up the door until I can replace the regulator. She's done, boys. All I have to do is finish screwing this in, and then I'll have fixed a door with a broken regulator and a window stuck in the down position to a door with a broken regulator and the window is not stuck down. So that's an improvement. And I don't know if you know this, but assembly is the reverse of disassembly. But don't put duct tape on your car and then leave it out in the sun and the rain for 8 to 10 months, because you'll get this residue on here. So to get this off, I'm using this off-brand Gooby Gone and a plastic scraping tool. This has a sort of a sharp edge to it. So I'm just gonna work this off of here. It's gonna take all afternoon probably, but it's working really well with this dissolver. Now once I get all this goo off of here, I'm gonna go get the car washed and bring it back inside, and then I can start working on the faded paint. Okay, I'm starting with a power washer, and then I'll wash it with a bucket and soap, and then rinse it off. I'm not really a detailing YouTube channel, so I'm just gonna get on with it. And here's after, but of course, You know, a wet car and sunset lighting conditions make any car look good, no matter how ugly it is. As we all know that, but it's looking good. I still have some sunlight left, so I'm gonna tackle these rust stain problems. This, you can see rust stains here. This isn't from the body. This is from the Ghostbusters equipment that was sitting on top of the car for so long. Then you do have some body rust, but we'll see what happens if I just try and use some rust stains to remove it. It won't remove the rust. It'll just temporarily remove the redness. So I'll try 2 different or 3 different options. CLR here, and I'll also try this, which will be much less destructive. With this, you have to really rinse the car extremely well afterwards. So first off, we'll try this. This is actually the first time I've tried this product, as usually I use CLR, and I'll show you that next. But for this roof, I really want to use something that's not so harsh. So let's just give it a shot. Okay, let's see what we got. I'm not too impressed so far. Yeah, I'm not impressed at all. So don't use that to remove rust stains. You don't use the iron remover from Meguiar's to remove rust stains. Okay, this is a bucket of CLR and some water. If it starts to burn my hand, I know that I've made it a little too powerful. So like I said, it won't remove the rust, but it might get some of these adjacent stains out. So maybe I need to have steel wool. That's what I've used in the past. All right, I'll show you some of the examples that I've done in the past using steel wool instead of a sponge. Back now on the Mercedes, was trying to get these stains out. Now keep in mind, this is a single stage coat of paint. There's no base coat and clear coat. It is kind of tingling my hand a little bit. So let's see how well it works on this kind of paint. And using a sponge. Man, I have to get the steel wool out for this. Okay, Bar's Keeper's Friend and a sponge. We're gonna use this to get these rust stains out. Where the paint is like gone. This paint is not gone, it just has a rust stain in it. And look, already gone. How about over here? Yeah, I like this.
Old car problems number 5. Lost ignition key.
Unfortunately, I have to deal with a tricky problem. My only key to this car has been lost for 6 months, and the original ignition module was replaced a few years ago, so getting a new key from the dealership wouldn't help. Removing the lock cylinder or even the whole ignition switch without a key is impossible, so my only course of action is to destroy the protective casing around the ignition lock cylinder, which is made from a hardened steel. The metal is too hard for standard drill bits or even cobalt drill bits, so I primarily used about a dozen 3/8 inch masonry bits which have a carbide blade, and I had to repeatedly sharpen the carbide blades with a diamond cutting disc on a Dremel tool. Eventually I was able to pry out the face of the lock cylinder, which itself is made from hardened kryptonite or something. Once that was removed, I could push down on the pin that prevented the protective casing from unscrewing, and once that was removed, I could pull out the lock cylinder and was able to finally access the ignition switch.
Yes, sir.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Bonus tip.
All right, here's the bonus tip I've been saving for the end of the video, and it's about rust repair. I've already gotten started on some rust repair right here, but the tip that I have for you today is pour 15 and when to use it, because this stuff does work really, really well. But here's the thing with rust repair on old cars. It's like a very hairy man shaving his pubic hairs. Where do you draw the line? So let's take you around the car. I've cut out a lot of rust. Of course, you can't use this on rust that is bubbling, rust where there's holes and you can just poke your screwdriver right through it, or where rust is coming from the other side. This is where you have surface rust that's really pitted and you can't just sand it off. But on old cars, like for example, I opened up the fender here, and of course it's rusty all inside, and that's where the pour 15 comes in. Holy crap. Okay, that's how you know the car actually did live in Portland, Oregon its whole life. Look at all this moss. Wow. And this is why these parts of the front fender always rust out, because they don't get cleaned out. Look at all this dirt just falling out. When you have rust bubbles like this, that's a pretty bad sign. I'm going to blast it with a wire wheel, and I also have a paint removing wheel here. We'll see if there's any metal behind this or not. No, there's already a hole right there. And somebody's covered it up with Bondo. That was the problem all along. You cannot cover rust with Bondo. It'll start to bubble like this. A pretty thick layer of Bondo here, maybe a millimeter thick. Just right over the rust, and it started to bubble up. So wouldn't be surprised if the same thing is true for all along here. So I have some work to do. Okay, let me show you now. This rust was coming from the inside, not from the outside. So that's why treating the outside would not work, and the rust will just come back and bubble up. Now, as you can see, there's an inner metal panel, and this I'm going to treat with pour 15 after I scrape off all this rust. And I'll try and get it into, and back it all up in here as well. And here is a good candidate for using Pour 15. So I pulled off this chrome trim. The rest is creeping in from the edge of this panel, not from underneath. So I think I can just kind of scrape away this loose paint here. Get a little Pour 15 in here once it's all cleaned up, and then touch up paint over that. You want to kind of treat the rust first and really brush it with a wire wheel and then hit it with this stuff. This is pretty powerful stuff. I got a little on my fingers yesterday and it really started to burn. But if you want something even tougher and stronger, use this stuff, but you have to rinse it off. Because it's just too corrosive. You have to rinse this off. So, yep, I'm doing it the right way. I'm cutting out the rust. I'm treating the rust on the inside that doesn't need to be cut out. And then I'm coating it with Pour 15. And then I'm going to weld in a patch panel right here. I'm finishing up this patch here. I did this patch and then I realized there was even more rust, so I continued it. The inside of the patch here is coated with weld-through primer, which has a lot of zinc in it to protect from corrosion. So the inside of this is also covered in the same primer, and I'll put a link in the description. Okay, just finished welding in this patch, but welding in patch panels to fix rust is way out of the scope of this little video. I have another video where I do a deep dive on that. I'll put that on the screen now and link to it in the video description if you want to check that out. And here's the patch panel I made up. Pretty simple, just needed a few little bends. It has a drainage hole at the bottom, which the one didn't have. That might have been part of the problem. On the inside here, I sprayed it with weld-through primer. It'll fit up pretty well, I believe. There we go.